Greetings, everyone. This is Rock and Roll Spot Connection with the Weekly Comic Book Roundup. We've covered this week's event tie-ins, and now it's going to move on to, well, our next batch of books. Starting off with New Mutants number 28. Where we left off, while trying to transfer power from magic to Madeline Pryor when it comes to Limbo. A few snags were hit, namely that seemingly Limbo has fallen back into control of its resident demon lords. So they've been hiding out outside Sim's castle with Magic working on teaching Madeline about magic, and also Magic is trying to remanifest her soul sword, but she's having trouble turning it into the sword. She's able to manifest a slingshot, a flogger, a butcher cleaver, a weapon. I think it's about. It looks a bit like I'm not entirely sure what we call it. It looks like the throwing weapon that Xena would wield. Also, a what looks like a moped designed by Cable. It's got a giant cannon on it, so you know. But Danny Moonstar is still very hesitant about having Madeline Pryor take over Limbo. But Madeline makes her case, and while Danny's not entirely on board, she's willing to go with it. So the ritual is completed, and then the quintet attack storm Sim's castle, putting the demons outside to sleep so they can go inside without incident. But there are more demons inside. When Magic goes to take on Sim, he disarms her, and then she's attacked by another aspect of her. There's then a timeline giving the secret history of Ileana Rasputin, though it cuts off, though it is sadly incomplete. So this other aspect of Ileana Rasputin version seemingly loves to quote Sun Tzu, and that's able to just, and with Ileana doing so herself, well, it's able to distract her, allowing Madeline to come in with a scythe and kill the other version. Magic gets her armor and her soul sword back, and later we get a report on what happened in Limbo to the Quiet Council from Ileana, and later back on Krakoa, Colossus goes to visit his sister and try to mend fences, and he tells her about something big that's happening with him, saying that he's been troubled lately. Gaps in his memory, missing time, coming to in strange places, and it scares him. This is definitively a reference to the revelations that were made back in X-Force number 24, that he's under the control. Basically, he is secretly under the control of his brother Mikhail, of his and Ileana's brother Mikhail. But the idea is they're going to try and try to be family. In Limbo, well, Madeline Pryor is taken to the throne quite easily. Demons, demons rise up, and generally speaking, she only has to kill one when in these uprisings to quell them. Usually, this also includes sticking the head of said dead demon on a pike. But as for what's next, we have a follow up wherein a wizard is forcibly kicked out of, is being bullied by Sim, and Ileana throws her voice to call him away, and she helps the wizard, and he his little goblin basically read a book. The book being the tale of the little goblin, which basically planted the seed for Ileana's freedom, or getting her freedom, and so it's cyclical. But that is where the issue ends. So I enjoyed the arc. I'm looking forward to seeing what the next arc entails. I actually don't think the New Mutants is tying in at all with Judgment Day, but I could be wrong. Anyway, moving on to our next book, we've got X-Men Unlimited, XMen Green, #1. Now, I'm not sure if the whole idea is that Marvel's going to be producing these as one-shots, to just kind of as like teasers for their digital comics, or if if these are going to basically kind of be, collecting, kind of okay, well, we've got, once they've got so many, then they put so many together and put them out as hard copies. I'm not sure how that's going to be, seeing as how neither of these X-Men Unlimited #1s have none of them have had definitive concrete endings. So X-Men Green follows Nature Girl, a former student of the Jean Grey School for Higher Learning. She's attuned to the Earth. She can communicate with wildlife and plant life. And given given the damage that mankind has done to the planet, it kind of it takes its toll on her. So, a sea turtle washes up on the beach, and it's choking on a grocery bag. So Nature Girl decides she's going to make the humans pay. So she goes to a location of the grocery store. Apparently, it's in Vegas. Ends up killing the manager. Cops show up. They send a canine unit in for recon, and she communicates what happened. What happened with the sea turtle to the dog, and the dog's just like, okay, all right, I'm on your side. And she summons various captive birds to disperse the police, allow her to run. Meanwhile, Xavier has tasked Wolverine with bringing Nature Girl in. We get some flashbacks to her younger days at the Jean Grey School. But Wolverine, he feels bad. He gets what she's going through. I mean, not he's been through it himself, but yeah, it's anyway. Nature and the dog were staying in a cave. Turns out, though, the cave was the home of a bear, who let them stay once Nature Girl told her what has been going on. So Wolverine fights the bear, while Nature Girl steals his bike, and yeah, Wolverine gets his guts opened up by the bear, so he's got to take a break for a while. She sneaks back onto Krakoa and grabs some stuff. And another mutant comes to see her, Curse, and opts to go with her, or volunteers to go with her. But so she goes to stop a pipeline in the Dakotas. There's already a protest going on at the pipeline. Nature Girl shows up, however, and Curse it basically causes one of the refinery workers to slip on it, or one of the pipeline workers to slip on a puddle of oil and crack his head open, dying in the process. But to deal with the rest of the pipeline workers, Nature Girl summons forth swarms of bees. Apparently, the chemicals pumped into the air by the pipeline and the refinery. Apparently, those mess with the bees and cause them to lose their way. Another one of the pipeline workers comes at Nature Girl, and she basically turns her head and uses her antlers to slit his throat. And her, Curse, and the dog, now named Saris, head towards the refinery. Wolverine's tracked her scent, and apparently Nature Girl has put her blazer on tore her blazer and put it on a couple of wrapped around the necks of a couple of foxes and a couple of wolves, and Wolverine ends up finding them rather than her, which just kind of pisses him off. But Nature awakes from a nightmare. Apparently, while she was resting, all of her hair fell out, and she further changed with from here up on her head becoming black, and her hair all falling out. Elsewhere, Sauron, longtime X-Men villain Sauron, has returned to his cave, and it turns out cave lab kind of the same form, but there's oil everywhere. His lab is pretty much destroyed. This does not make Sauron happy, but Nature and Curse arrive at the refinery. And while they take out the corporate guards, they're stopped by Black Mamba, the Serpent Society. And that is where the issue ends. I do hope that we're going to be getting a second part of both of the X-Men Unlimited books we've had. Or at least a collected edition with the whole story. One or the other. Either one would be nice. But anyway, There's a lot that I remember reading about on news sites last year when X-Men Green was running, was still fairly new, that that this didn't touch on, like Xavier truly disliking Curse, and also just Sauron showing up. Yeah, I do hope. Like I said, I do hope we're getting a second issue, because if not, this is kind of crappy to just be like, hey, here's the first however much of the story. I get it. It's smart business, but yeah, yeah. Anyway, moving on to our next book, we've got X-Men 92, House of 92, number 4. So where we left off, issue 3 basically covered Ten of Swords. Issue 4 seems to be hitting up on the Hellfire Gala. So, Jubilee has been invited, though she can't go. Point from the last issue. 3 mutants, the Silver Samurai, Beast, and a mutant named Solar were killed in Otherworld, and when they were resurrected, they came back wrong. With Beast being similar to his Age of Apocalypse counterpart. So, the gala itself. Now, one thing I do feel I need to state is that it seems that the timeline, they're utilizing elements from both the 90s comics as well as the 90s cartoons. An example is also invited to the gala were Spider-Man, Hulk, and Ghost Rider, among others. And the 3 of them were together with Wolverine at one point, and the idea of camaraderie. What Hulk says kind of implies the idea that the 4 of them have worked together, perhaps as a new and fantastic team. Also, we've got the Thing with his mid-90s helmet, which, yeah, the less said there, the better. But just like with the Hellfire Gala that actually happened in the comics, we get the election of the X-Men. Elsewhere, Sabretooth is going to talk to Sinister, only to find Sinister taped to a chair and with his mouth taped shut. So he was attacked by Beast, and who basically makes a recruitment pitch to him. So the elected X-Men end up being Rogue, Sunfire, Polaris, Random, and Feral. And of course, as while yes, we did get at the first Hellfire Gala, we got the X-Men election. That wasn't the big the big holy shit moment. The big holy shit moment was the terraforming of Mars. Only this time it's not Mars, but rather asteroid M. And the mutants of Arakko are transported there. Nick Fury shows up, not too happy about recent events, like the influx of mutants from Arakko, and now, oh yeah, you have your own, orbital base. Great. The fight breaks out between Wolverine and Cyclops over the fact that Jean had to basically Phoenix up, which does not make for a happy Wolverine, because he remembered what happened last time. There's also a letter to the president from Valerie Cooper concerning the Hellfire Gala, well, the Inner Circle Gala. A postscript to it is that an eye was hit on celebrities coming and going from the Krakoan gates during the gala. Of the ones rumored by the tabloids to possess an X gene, Schwarzenegger, Cage, and Culkin all wore the Krakoan flowers that enabled non-mutants to cross. Prince did not. I mean, hey, you know. But we also get new members of the Quiet Council, Sunspot, Mirage, and Madam Web. And Beast. Meanwhile, Sabretooth leads a handful of mutants to Jubilee's hidey hole. At the Orchid Station, something goes wrong, and suddenly, all the humans aboard, even partial humans like Shaw and Donald Pierce and not Shaw, but Donald Pierce and Cameron Hodge suffocate. All at the decision of Bolivar Trask. There's a Krakoa Examiner with fun little bits about the new members of the X-Men. The shocker of Polaris' parentage. The X-Men's resident bad girl had a random romance. Is Sunfire quitting? He says he's not. An interview with Rogue's, the first boy Rogue ever kissed, as well as Cyclops and Jean Grey talking children in their future, past. And the Shadow King reveals why he's not welcome on Krakoa. Charles hates me. I mean, anyway, Wolverine runs into Sabretooth at Jubilee's hidey hole. Sabretooth suggests he goes on in, and he finds Beast, as well as Forearm, Gold Samurai, and Lunar. And both Sinister and Jubilee bound up. Beast is reading Jubilee's journal of her lifetimes. And that is where the issue ends. The next issue seems to be focused largely on the events of Inferno. So we should wrap things up. Anyway, moving on to our next book, we've got Daredevil number 2, which is a legacy number of 650. Where we left off, Daredevil learned that after the death of his friend Kirsten, Daredevil learned that his longtime friend Goldie has powers, and is claiming to be, in fact, Daredevil's guardian angel, and even knows who Daredevil is, Matt Murdock. But he apparently caused the train explosion that killed Kirsten. Daredevil tries to apprehend him. There's another train crash, though. Does what he can to help those on the train, but part of the damages cause a large piece of concrete to pin Daredevil. Goldie continues to talk. Get some flashbacks to. We had various flashbacks to Matt and Goldie in college, but and one of the first times that Matt did anything vigilante-esque and actually saved Elektra in doing so. But there's also, about the way things went, Elektra's father was killed. Rescue workers help Daredevil get out. He manages to track Goldie. smacks him around a bit, but he hints that he's been manipulating events. Things like an elevator left on the correct floor leads to a low-level gangster's escape, and into the arms of the FBI with information worth bargaining. A word in a struggling woman's ear sends her to Wilson Fisk, sends her to Daredevil's downfall, hinting that Goldie was at least somewhat involved in the revelation of Daredevil's identity. The issue also has multiple guest artists, including Alex Maleev, Phil Noto, John Romita Jr., and Chris Samney. Maleev drawing the part that alludes to the Bendis run. Romita Jr. drawing the part that focuses on Typhoid Mary. Looks like I think it's Chris Samney doing the reference to Matt Murdock's time in prison in the direct aftermath of Bendis' run. Phil Noto doing the Fisk for Mayor pre-Devil's Reign shot. We've also got Daredevil and Elektra dealing with actually Mountain Kirsten dealing with the Hand. Elektra and Bullseye fighting one another. But the fight is no conclusive winner as, well, Goldie manages to leaps off the under construction building that they're fighting in, and Daredevil loses him completely. At the train station going to investigate things, turns out Kirsten's still there. She missed the train. He tries to tell her that he loves her and I'll explain who he is, but yeah. But Goldie gets arrested, states that he's going to a special prison because it's where he needs to be for him. Daredevil is meanwhile curious as to if Goldie's been pulling strings all this time, then who's been telling him to do so? We have a backup story called simply The Hand. Hell's Kitchen, apparently years ago. Daredevil's injured and helped out by some residents. Apparently they have the severed hand of a gangster, and that's used to fake his prints on murder weapons so that to lay the blame. There's also mini Marvels featuring Daredevil, Bullseye, and Electro. And yeah, we're also got a cover gallery, all 650 Daredevil covers. But that is where the issue ends. Fairly interesting. While I kind of understand why the focus was on Matt for the primary story, it would have been nice to get a little more with Elektra as well, especially with what her and Stick have been dealing with. Anyway, moving on to our last week for the moment, we got DC vs. Vampires All Out War, number 2. Where we left off, Damage, having been turned into a vampire, returned to the human base and killed Captain Atom, causing him to, and the two of them both exploded, not entirely destroying their hideout, but definitively compromising it. So we learned that there were some survivors. Man-Bat was among those killed. Council was saved by Lead, who sacrificed himself to save them. But Constantine goes to try and bargain with Talia al Ghul and her butler, Alfred Pennyworth. But basically, they need to find a Lazarus pit. But vampires are closing in on them. Azrael is having trouble dealing with the programming, but he does seem to be winning out. So, and in fact, Azrael gets saved by none other than Jimmy Olsen. But the League, as well as our heroes, have to deal with the vampire invasion. Wonder Woman turns Jimmy Olsen. But she also gets knocked out by Mary Marvel. But it's more just kind of, it's a temporary thing. Then Constantine has Deadman take over Booster Gold's body, has him bring down the tunnel that Constantine and Wonder Woman are in, seemingly killing John. But in Florida, Billy Batson is giving Superman is a prophet of sorts to Superman. We got also a backup story, Dark Birth, Part 1, featuring Nightwing. Nightwing is called by his sister, the mayor of Bloodhaven. She wants him, kind of a heads up that she has to meet with actual vampires. So they go. He's serving as her bodyguard, and they meet with the former Queen of the Vampires, now former at least. And it's explained that vampires have always had a massive settlement underneath Bloodhaven. But I'm guessing that this story is going to basically tell the tale of how Dick Grayson became the Vampire King. But the idea being that, kind of a the person that Dick and his sister are meeting with, it basically explains that they need Mary Seward dead. And that is where the issue ends. Okay. Although, I'm honest, I'm loving all the DC versus vampire stuff. It's been a fun ride so far. Anyway, that is going to do it for now. As always, feel free to like, share, and subscribe. Links to my Facebook, Twitter, Patreon, and PayPal can be found in the description box down below. This is Rock and Roll Spock signing off, saying, live long and rock hard.